All right, so this is part two of why we should meditate. This is a continuation from part one, The Factory. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and watch that video before you watch this. Now, I finished with the fact that we're always looking for opulence. We're always being arrogant about our achievements. We're always like standing as tall as our houses, blah, blah, blah. And we're not connecting with each other at all. In other words, we believe in our efficiency, but we ignore our insufficiency. And when I say insufficiency, I don't just mean anger. I mean sadness, depression, that whole thing that we internalize because divulging it is weakness, which is ironic given the fact that we're actually afraid. We're actually afraid to do something in this case because we're afraid of being vulnerable. We're afraid of basically doing the mental equivalent of spilling our intestines all over the floor. And it's just, where's the strength in doing something and not doing something that you're afraid of? To me, that's very ironic. I'll get in more detail on this when I talk more about emotions, but right now I kind of want to go back to the anger portion of this. And the most minor thing, such as, I don't know, your phone not working properly, your computer freezing for 5 seconds, somebody probably switching lanes to you a little too close in traffic, not quite cutting you off, but getting close. We just erupt like volcanoes and we cause earthquakes. The volcanic part coming from our anger and the earthquakes coming from the fact that we shake everybody around us. And it's just absolutely insane, man. And besides just having such short fuses that can get ignited by the slightest bit of friction between people, I mean, think about the long hours that we put in. We will work brutal 16, 17-hour shifts with arms. Our arms will feel like spaghetti and our legs will feel like jelly at the end. But yet, if we make the smallest mistake during this shift, we're reprimanded for the error. And the ironic thing is, oftentimes, the time required to carry out the reprimand takes longer than what it would have been to fix the error, acknowledge it as a simple mistake, and move on. So besides just being irascible here as well, we're actually wasting time and being inefficient by our own definition. And let me think, what else did I want to say? We always write. If we have a personal conflict with somebody, we'd rather work than work it out. People always seem to use work as an excuse. Oh, I have obligations to do. I have things to do. They might actually go work, but they're not dealing with something that they should be dealing with. They're not communicating with anybody. They're not resolving issues. So conflicts just build up, not just in the family and our friends and stuff like that, but also in the workplace. People don't want to talk to each other. People don't want to deal with it. They're always dealing with the stuff in front of them as the actual work, but they don't want to work anything out, so to speak. And let me think. What else can I say about this? Give me 1 second, or a couple more things. Oh, we're always writing short stories in our head where we're the author and everyone else is the characters, and we can choose to kill them anytime that we want to, kill them off. And the ironic thing is, we can have as many drafts as we want, constantly erasing this. And it's just, people seem to probably have fantasies about this. And let's picture you standing up on a stage and say, anyone that's ever had thoughts of killing or hurting somebody, raise your hand. I'll admit it. I mean, I will freely admit it. And anybody that doesn't raise their hand, which would be the majority of the audience because it's socially unacceptable to say so, anybody that doesn't raise their hand, they're a liar. I guarantee you. Not just from the fact that we're so type A, but due to the fact that evolution constructed our cerebral cortex on top of our more primitive limbic system with all the instincts and its primal rage and all that. One system built on top of another instead of replacing the other one. I mean, and due to the fact that thoughts just come in all the time without our knowing it and stuff like that, you're going to tell me that people have never had a thought like this? They're lying. I guarantee you. Can't prove it, but I can pretty much guarantee you that they're lying. Let's see. Personal space has become no man's land. In other words, it's not just disrespectful to stand close to somebody. You stand too close to me, I'm just going to go ahead and punch your lights out. They don't want anybody in their space whatsoever. Same with the other person. So ergo, it's no man's land in between. And now making eye contact has resulted in staring contests because the second you make eye contact with somebody, it's seen as a challenge. And then if you're familiar with the fight or flight response, I think it's a new motto: fight then flight. We always fight. We always want to get physical with people. And it's absolutely ridiculous, man. It's insane. Now, the ironic thing about all of this is the stuff I've been talking about in this video so far, in the last video, is just, it's what I call the artificial. It's all this shit stacked on top of who we really are. I believe that kind of neglecting psychopathy or sociopathy, I believe that each of us has a benevolent spirit alive within it. And alive within each, a benevolent spirit is alive within each of us that will do good, that's caring, that's loving, etc. But then you stack all this artificial shit on top, work obligations, short fuses, etc. Blah blah blah. It makes people run, 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 and they're like this, and they just go crazy, dude. And they don't care about each other. They just want to beat the shit out of people, and all this stuff causes it to go crazy. But that benevolent spirit down below, the thing that is truly like the loving, compassionate part of ourselves, it doesn't die, it just gets suffocated, which indicates that it can be reawakened at any time. And this benevolent spirit is essentially, well, it's a spirit, so it can walk through any of life's walls. It can solve any problem. At least I believe solve many problems, many more compared to the ones we're currently solving with this type A culture crap. But all this artificial stuff stacked on top of it, it can't breathe. And that's essentially what I view as meditation. It's a way to drain that artificiality and bring the spirit back up to the surface. Allow you to be a more loving, kind person, not be affected by all this. Slow down, enjoy your life more, and appreciate the simple things, and that whole kind of stuff. But instead, we're these animals that are just so angry and so confused. Our head throbs just like our hearts. Our heads throb just like our hearts do, and our resilience is that of a glass ball hitting a wall. It shatters and can't even bounce back, and we just fall to pieces. And if we're shitting down, if we just sit down, we shake. Maybe it's from thinking, blinking, and drinking. I don't know, but why? Is it because is it residue from all the electrical impulses in our nervous system that result? Well, it's electrical residue from the fact that our nervous systems are firing all the time because we're just like this. Is it shivering because we think the world's a cold place yet, and we're looking for warmth yet we perpetuate it and all that stuff? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, man. Like when doing strenuous exercise, people forget to breathe in everyday life. They just don't forget to slow down. Even at day's end, when the fucking shenanigans are over for a day, they start intensifying their thinking about tomorrow. They're already opening up that laptop and looking back looking ahead and trying to figure how they can get a jump on tomorrow. And if you try to get them to resist, well, it's almost as they reach for it and open it up almost as habitually as I don't know, a 2 packs a day smoker reaches for another cigarette. Just thinking about that. And there was one thing I'm forgetting to say. Hold on one second. Let me check my outline real quick. Never mind. I didn't miss anything. So imagine that you're sitting in a chair and somebody takes the chair out from under you. Would you plop to the ground? I don't think so. You would stay in the seating position despite the fact that it's very uncomfortable because your muscles are so tense, they're so locked up that even when that chair is pulled out from under you, you're still in that sitting position. And like I said, it's just because you're so uptight all the time. You're so tensed up. You can't relax. And it's just, it's insane, man. It is absolutely insane. And the idea of meditation, even if you're willing to try it, even if you want to do it, it just seems so farcical because it's like you're leaving behind a lifestyle you call having it all. This shit seems so far away and far-fetched, and it's like, despite the fact that it's a journey where the legs don't even have to move, I mean, it just seems so ridiculous because you're not used to it. But the truth is, meditation can do absolute wonders for you if you do it correctly. And it's just all that stuff that I talked about in the last 2 videos, the type A stuff, the insanity, the depression, the anxiety, the wanting to connect with others, but instead you always find yourself wanting to beat the shit out of them instead, not feeling the love, all those obligations, the imbued schedule, all day, everyday type stuff, all of that, lack of communication, the list goes on. It won't go away, but it can be mitigated quite a bit. And meditation will help with all of those areas. It will help you slow down. It will help you breathe. It will allow you to love your life a lot more. Will allow you to appreciate a sunset at the end of the day. And you'll love other people a lot more. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And on the next one, I'll describe how to actually meditate. I won't do a guided meditation per se, and I won't like just sit in front of the camera in silence for 5-10 minutes, but I will show you how to do it and what to expect, as well as the fact that a lot of popular meditation books get a lot wrong about the philosophy. That'll be in the next video.